the Bhagavad Gita, Gita Press, 30th reprint, 2007. Chapter 13. Sri Bhagavan said, "This body, Arjuna, is termed as the field, and he who knows it is called the knower of the field by the sages discerning the truth about both. Know myself to be the individual soul in all the fields, Arjuna, and it is the knowledge of the field and knower, i.e. of matter with its evolutes and the spirit, which I consider as true knowledge. What that field is and what is its nature, what are its modifications, and from what causes, what effects have arisen, and also who its knower is and what is his glory. Hear all this from me in brief. The truth about the field and the field knower has been expounded by the seers in manifold ways. Again, it has been separately stated in different Vedic chants, and also in the conclusive and reasoned texts, the 5 elements, the ego, the intellect, the unmanifest primordial matter, the 10 organs of perception and action, the mind, and the 5 objects of sense: sound, touch, color, taste, and smell. Also, desire, aversion, pleasure, pain, the physical body, consciousness, firmness, and thus is the field with its evolutes briefly stated. Absence of pride, freedom from hypocrisy, non-violence, forbearance, uprightness of speech and mind, devout service of the preceptor, internal and external purity, steadfastness of mind and control of the body, mind, and senses, dispassion towards the objects of enjoyment of this world and the next, and also absence of egotism, pondering again and again on the pain and evils inherent in birth, death, old age, and disease, absence of attachment and the sense of mindness in respect of son, wife, home, etc., and constant equipoise of mind, both in favorable and unfavorable circumstances. Unflinching devotion to me through exclusive attachment, living in secluded and holy places, and finding no delight in the company of worldly people. Constancy in self-knowledge and seeing God as the object of true knowledge. All this is declared as knowledge, and what is contrary to this is called ignorance. I shall speak to you at length about that which ought to be known, and knowing which one attains supreme bliss. That supreme Brahma, who is the Lord of beginningless entities, is said to be neither being nor non-being. It has hands and feet on all sides, eyes, head, and mouth in all directions, and ears all round, for it stands pervading all in the universe. Perceiving all sense objects, it is really speaking devoid of all senses. Nay, though unattached, it is the sustainer of all nonetheless. And though attributeless, it is the enjoyer of gunas and the 3 modes of prakriti. It exists without and within all beings, and constitutes the animate and inanimate creation as well. And by reason of its subtlety, it is incomprehensible. It is close at hand and stands afar too. Though integral like space in its undivided aspect, it appears divided, as it were, in all animate and inanimate beings. And that Godhead, which is the only object worth knowing, is the sustainer of beings such as Vishnu, the destroyer as Rudra, and the creator of all as Brahma. That supreme Brahma is said to be the light of all lights, entirely beyond Maya. That Godhead is knowledge itself, worth knowing and worth attaining through real wisdom, and is particularly abiding in the hearts of all. Thus, the truth of the field and knowledge, as well as the object worth knowing, God, has been briefly discussed. Knowing this in reality, my devotee enters into my being. Prakriti and Purusha know both these as beginningless, and know all modifications such as likes and dislikes, etc., and all objects constituted of the three gunas as born of Prakriti. Prakriti is said to be responsible for bringing forth the evolutes and the instruments, while in the individual soul is declared to be responsible for the experience of joys and sorrows. Only the Purusha in association with Prakriti experiences objects of the nature of the three gunas, evolved from Prakriti and its attachment with these gunas that is responsible for the birth of this soul in good and evil wombs. The spirit dwelling in this body is really the same as the Supreme. He has been spoken of as the witness, the true guide, the sustainer of all, the experiencer as the embodied soul, the overlord, and the absolute as well. He who thus knows the Purusha and the Prakriti, together with the gunas, even performing his duties in every way, is not born again. Some by meditation beyond the Supreme Spirit in the heart with the help of their refined and sharp intellect. Others realize it through the discipline of knowledge, and still others through the discipline of action or karma yoga. Other dull-witted persons, however, not knowing thus, worship even as they have heard from others, and even those who are thus devoted to what they have heard are able to cross the ocean of mundane existence in the shape of death. Arjuna, whatsoever being, the moving or unmoving, is born, know it is emanated through the union of matter and spirit, as imperishable and abiding equally in all perishable beings, both animate and inanimate. For by seeing the Supreme Lord equally present in all, he does not kill the self by himself, and thereby attains the supreme state. He who sees that all actions are performed in every way by nature, and the self as the non-doer, he alone verily sees. The moment man perceives the diversified existence of beings as rooted in the one Supreme Spirit, and the spreading forth of all beings from the same, that very moment he attains Brahma, who is truth, consciousness, and bliss solidified. Arjuna, being without beginning and without attributes, this indestructible Supreme Spirit, though dwelling in the body, in fact, does nothing, nor gets tainted as the all-pervading ether is not contaminated by reason of its subtlety through permeating the body. The self is not affected by the attributes of the body due to its attributeless character. Arjuna, as the one sun illuminates this entire universe, so the one spirit illuminates the whole field. Those who thus perceive with the eye of wisdom the difference between the field and the field knower, and the phenomenon of liberation from Prakriti with her evolutes, reach the supreme eternal spirit. Thus, in the Upanishads sung by the Lord, the science of Brahma, the scripture of yoga, the dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna ends the 13th chapter entitled The Yoga of Discrimination Between the Field and the Knower of the Field. Up next, chapter 14, entitled The Yoga of Division of Three Gunas.